and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I have a hilarious show today because I have the hilarious Iliza Shlesinger. She's coming back, and I just listened back to the interview that we recorded last week. It is hilarious, but first I have to get into the hottest topics that are happening. Unfortunately, Tristan Thompson has done it again. He has been caught cheating again on Khloe, and she addressed it and addressed that, in fact, they are broken up. Hopefully forever. The incident was this. He was at a party a couple nights ago in Bel Air at some 90,000 square foot house that Drake threw for some security guard that everyone in the business loves. And he's there hanging out with P. Diddy, Drake, and Chris Brown. Okay? And there's a party going on. Here's my question. Why? Maybe Khloe honestly doesn't want to be around a bunch of people like that, but why wouldn't you bring your girlfriend to a party like that? Why are you going to a big party? And all these guys, do they all have girlfriends and baby mamas and wives at home that just don't get invited to the 90,000 person mansion? And how great is the security guard? I mean, I guess if you're willing to take a bullet for someone, you get a big party thrown for you. So good for him. Tristan's going around telling people he's single, allegedly, goes into a bedroom with 3 very attractive girls, comes out 30 minutes later. And the word got back to all of us, including Khloe. Khloe finally addressed it yesterday. Not finally, this was a pretty quick turnaround. Maybe one day, she writes on her stories, we'll meet again and explain to each other what really happened. Maybe one day we'll finally understand. Until then, I hope you live your best life, and I hope you really do all the things you wanted to do. This is really sad. I mean, I really think she wanted to make it work. They seem to have a really fun rapport with each other, which is heartbreaking because you saw it during the last season of Kardashians, that they laugh, they have fun. He just can't control his cheating. It's just forget it. And I heard that when he was playing for the Boston Celtics in Boston, he would tell everyone he was single. In which the last incident, which she got caught cheating for, was this model, Sydney Chase. She went on a show and said, he told me he was single, and we had sex, and then he reached out to me again. And I'm like, wait, are you sure you're single? And now, of course, we look back at the timeline, and he, in fact, wasn't single when he was with this girl, Sydney Chase. They sent her a cease and desist. Stop talking about it. It's not true. There was another woman, Kimberly Alexander, who said that he was the father of her 1-year-old baby. I believe they got a paternity test, and it was proven that he was not the father. And then, of course, back when she was giving birth to True, their daughter, it came out that he was at a nightclub and cheating with girls, and it was all proven to be true. And at that time, I wrote a song about it, and here's the song. This goes out to you, Tristan Thompson. Right now, she's taking baby photos with a real cute bunny Snapchat filter. Right now, she's packing for a private jet without your cheating ass and only her sisters. Right now, she's tightening her revenge body for season 2 Audie. But you should know that I'm coming to Nashville May 4th and 5th at the City Winery for stand-up, Juicy Scoop, and more. Get your tickets now. Selling fast. Ow. So I wrote that song in 2018 when he got caught for cheating, and I put it out there. I never heard from them. Maybe that was insensitive of me. I was trying to tell her then, girl, you got it all going on. Don't waste your time. Well, now we know the last 3 years she took him back, he cheated. She took him back, he cheated. Then we saw on the show that she definitely was trying to have another baby with him. On the show, she was acting like they weren't sleeping together, that she had to do in vitro anyway. So she was like, give me your sperm. The kids will be full siblings. I don't know if we have a future together or not. Then they confirmed they were together on the Kardashian reunion with Andy Cohen. And in that one, I think that she filmed that after Jordan Wood's cheating scandal, who was Kylie's best friend, who got caught making out with him at a party and then went on the Red Table Talk to redeem herself. And then Kylie and Jordan are no longer friends. And Kylie said on the show, I always had these close friends. Now that I don't, I realize I don't really need them. I have my sisters, which was interesting of why they keep their circles so small. And I don't think they need a lot of people. They have best friends with each other. They hang out with each other. And now they have all these kids that can have friends within their cousins too. But when she talked to Andy Cohen about that, she said, well, it was really heartbreaking, but I was angry at both of them, but I also forgave both of them. I think that was filmed before this Sydney Chase incident, but she took him back during that, and now this is the final thing. During the Sydney Chase incident, she had written another post that she said, God, thank you for laying down your life for me and for protecting me. At all times, I'm so grateful that I can rely on you. Anyway, it's a little prayer. She's such a good girl. She's everyone's favorite. She did mention on the reunion that she had not been successful in currently having a baby, either a surrogate or whatever, with Tristan. So I don't think anyone's pregnant carrying their baby. I hope not. I think that also makes this break cleaner. Maybe she believes in God. God didn't give her a baby with Lamar. She got her daughter True. She's a mother. That's beautiful. But it's interesting because all the girls have one baby daddy as of now. Kim only had children with Kanye, though she was married twice before, only had children with Kanye, and I think she's probably done having children. Kourtney had 3 kids with Scott, even though they were back and forth breaking up. He was cheating on her. He had alcohol, drug problems, but she wanted to get those 3 babies in before she was too old. I don't think she'll have a baby with Travis. I really don't. Travis Barker. And so, I think that Khloe was on the same path. Like, okay, yeah, he's a cheater, but let me just have a full sibling for True. I don't know why that matters, but I think that was just maybe to make their life simple. I hope she starts fresh, meets someone great, and if she wants to have more children, uses that man's sperm to have more children with, and keep Tristan in her life because that's True's father. They're so classy about it. That's the great thing about Kris. She embraces any spouse or person they bring into their lives. She embraces them. And then when they break up, who do they go home to? Mama Kris, which is a really hard thing for a parent to do when they know they're with someone that's not right for them. But by God, it's certainly worked for Kris Jenner. So best of luck to all of them. And I don't know why that song never got to Khloe, because Tom Girardi paid for it to be a #1 Billboard dance hit in the gay club circuit. No, I do know that you can absolutely pay to have Billboard #1 hits, or because you literally it's based on how often a dance club hit. It's based on how much a DJ says he plays it. There's no proof of it. It's not a digital download. So a DJ can say he played that song, or he played It's Expensive to Be Me or Pat the Puss or whatever. He could say, oh, I played it 5,000 times. Another DJ say I played it 10,000 times. All these DJs say that because maybe there's a reward at the end of saying it, and then it's a #1 hit. Just little tips for you guys to know. Speaking of Tom Girardi, I Live for Bravo, a great Instagram account, posted that he was dining with a blonde-haired woman. They said it was a date. It's at a place called Stony Point. It's in Pasadena. He goes there all the time. I know people that are friendly with him, that are family friends with him, that run into him there all the time and have conversations with him. They have also said that he was quite repetitive in the last couple of years in those conversations, like saying something and then 10 minutes saying the exact same thing, which leads to me to believe that maybe there really is truth to his Alzheimer's defense. On the other hand, he's sharp enough to have a date with a cute blonde. Now, they covered her face, so I don't know how old she is. She could also it could maybe not be a date. This is daylight, and it's a place he goes to all the time. So, but do you imagine, do you want to go have lunch with Tom Girardi? Okay. This was hilarious, and I don't know who posted this, but they made the poster of the housewife and the hustler, but they put Caroline and Dina Manzo and their Manzo husbands at the time in a portrait together, framed just like the documentary. Very, very clever. Meanwhile, Face Reality 16, another great account, they posted a photo of Erika Jayne getting her own gas, wearing a crimpy hair, no makeup, sunglasses, frump-a-dump t-shirt, nobody to tuck in that t-shirt or place it just correct on your sweatpants. So they wrote, tell me your glam squad quit without telling me your glam squad quit. I think they quit. I went back to the photo I had from a few years ago where the glam squad was thrilled to be paid for the day to come and do an audio interview only with me. Delightful. All 4 of them. I don't know where, maybe the 4 of them were still in the back of the car while she was pumping her gas. Maybe she wanted them to, maybe she asked the paparazzi, hey, I'm going to be pumping my gas. I want people to see that I'm humbled. I'm pumping my own gas. Still like me. I'm not the piece, believe in me, the truth will come out. I don't know. Or maybe they just caught her. I know how the paparazzi works because I was caught in Miami walking with Jill Zarin on the beach. And I can't believe this article they wrote about me. Thank God I chose to wear one piece that day because I was feeling a little bloated, but I did look pretty great in this Trina Turk suit. So thank you, Daily Mail. The title is Heather McDonald Takes the Plunge in a Very Low-Cut Bathing Suit. But they did mention I have stand-up shows. They did mention I was hilarious. Jill was with me. Jill was mentioned. Thank you. But no, we did not call the paparazzis. But we may have seen him taking an unflattering photo of us, and we might have said, could we walk on the beach? I don't know. That may have happened. Thank you, Daily Mail. Jen Shah asked the judge, Jen Shah of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City has now asked the judge to toss the criminal case out because her contacts were dry. That's right. She says when she was arrested, which we have so many sources knowing that she knew she was going to be arrested. They went to the house first. The aunt called her. She left the film crew, which was filming them going on like a day trip with all the other cast members. Her aunt picked her up. She got in a car. She told the cast, I am going home because my husband is in the hospital. The aunt picks her up. The police catch up to the aunt's car and arrest her. Now she's saying that her contact lenses were dry and she was disillusioned and didn't know what was going on, and that they lied to her, and she thought that they were just going to ask her questions about a case in which she was a victim of like a stalker or some, I don't know what the case was, but she thought she was just going to be questioned about another case in which she might have been a victim of. And therefore, this whole case should be thrown out because the arrest was not correct in that her Miranda rights were violated because she didn't understand the Miranda rights because she couldn't see because her contact lenses were dry and she signed a piece of paper that she couldn't read. So there you go. Also on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, I follow Mary Crosby, and she had the most hilarious Father's Day post. She said the post before was like this weird like imagery I think you could just buy about like amazing men. It's just like words that are saying amazing men. And she says, I don't have any recent pictures of Robert Sr. or Robert Jr., her husband and her son. I don't have any recent pictures. You don't have anything from the last year in your phone, or even then throw an old baby one. I mean, I threw up an old picture of Peter and Sofia Vergara on Father's Day. I was just like, this is probably one of his happiest days. Why don't we just show that photo? Instead, she did a montage of stills to music of just herself looking really great, and just like all her best glam looks, just like where you just are like, I cannot believe my face looks so good. The sun is coming in. The filter's so good. She put that together, and that was her Father's Day post. So let's be honest. Salt Lake City is going to be good when it comes back, people. These people are ridiculous. Nick Cannon, who has 2 children, 2 twins with Mariah Carey, he just announced he's expecting his 4th baby in a year on a Father's Day post. So he has confirmed the baby news just days after he welcomed twin sons. He had another set of twins, Zion Mixol-Edian and Zillion Air. Zion and Zillian Ayre are his new twins with Abby De La Rosa. They were born on Monday, June 14th. Previously, he welcomed a daughter named Powerful Queen in December with another woman named Britney Bell, with whom he also shares a 4-year-old son named Golden Saigon. He also co-parents 10-year-old twins son Moroccan and daughter Monroe with ex-wife Mariah Carey. And now this baby is coming, and that is with Alyssa Scott. That baby is coming very soon. Happy Father's Day. You have 7 kids now, Nick Cannon. And I remember when I met Nick Cannon with Kim Kardashian at one of the first Christmas parties I went to. They were dating, and we went out to eat, and it was before the show, before she was really famous. And he was like, the story was that she told me that he wants her to have his children. He wants to put her a house in the Hidden Hills. He wasn't ready to marry her, but he wanted her to have his children. That was before Mariah Carey, before all that stuff. And I was like, what are you doing? There is so much in your future. I don't know what it is. It's something in fashion, whatever. And I remember her sitting at this Mexican restaurant with not a speckle of makeup with Kris Jenner, and I think maybe Khloe was there. And I was like, you do not be having someone's baby because they're offering you a house. 7 children later, I guess all those women were pretty charmed by that proposition. Thank God Kim wasn't. Okay. This was very strange. Britney Spears posted these 2 children looking from I don't know, it looks like grapes of wrath. It's a black and white photo. Go to her Instagram. It's from about 5 days ago. And she does this whole thing about living on a ranch with her cousins and how she enjoyed playing like children do in the South. And her sister writes, Jamie Spears says, which cousin had a ranch? With about 8 question marks. So I told you, I don't think she's in charge of her Instagram. I don't think she posted this Instagram. I think Jamie Lynn is trying to expose it as well by putting that comment there. June 23rd, I'm taping this on June 22nd, June 23rd, of course. We will know more when you're listening to this, how Britney's court date went. Instead, the next post that they posted, the people that I believe posting her, was another photo of her, blurry, bad hair extensions. Literally, her lipstick looks like it's smeared. She's got, of course, the dark circles and the not good makeup, and the brows aren't filled in. That's the next photo that then is posted, where I'm like, what are you trying to make her not look good? So we'll see what happens. Now, you guys, I am so excited to have Eliza come in. We had such a fun time talking. She has a great movie that's out right now on Netflix called Good on Paper. And it's just a hilarious conversation. Get ready for some fun. Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop.
Juicy Scoop.
Wow, do we have a delight. If you think I'm funny, you know who's are you guys ready for a funny female?
Are you ready for a pretty, funny, gender-specific creature?
Oh my God, she's a cis female. Are you still cis?
Yeah.
And it is our girl,
Last time I checked.
Eliza Shlesinger.
Hi. Juicy Scoop.
Girl.
Mazel tov on the new office.
Thank you.
It reads like a dentist office from the outside, but
Yes.
inside, very pink.
Oh, but my last place was 1970s dental
Remember
office.
that.
And now this
It's
is
the Valley. We have all decades of dental offices.
And now this is a newer dental office outside building. And there's like a really cool little guy that cooks downstairs. And so I like eating my salads.
You go big. We don't even film the faces on our podcast. We're like, let them rest. We do it in a ball and sweatpants in the office. And you're like, I'm in hair and makeup. We've got pink. We're doing it.
You know,
I put on mascara for this.
We've suffered so much this year. I just had to give the people all the Heather McDowell they could have.
They deserve it. You built this.
Exactly.
Yeah. I drove to the Valley for this. For you.
I love. And you offered me a coffee. I'd already gotten one.
Oh, I said to Emily, I go, the best way to soften the blow that you might be late because you need coffee is to offer coffee to someone. And then you're like, I'm good, thanks. I was like, I can't tell if she's mad. We'll just get the coffee.
Oh, no. You know, a lot of people think I'm mad. What?
No, it's the abbreviation. It's fine. I was like, anyways, but I did offer.
Yeah. Well, I just found out that I was using the wrong emoji and someone could have accused me for digital racism. I had no idea.
Was it? So was it that blue devil, that purple devil?
What's that?
It's just the devil that's purple.
Okay, well, I
don't know. I always felt like it was
whenever
coded.
I would like write okay or whatever.
You'd write KKK?
No, it'd give me 3 choices. It'd give me a yellow hand like this, which now they said is the white supremacist thing. Okay.
Oh no. Well, maybe don't do the.
No, this isn't.
Maybe don't do the symbol
But I was
then.
like, okay. I mean, this is it. Okay, anyway, there's white, okay, but it's yellow. Then there's a green check mark, like, okay. And then there was a black thumb. And I always thought those were the 3 choices.
Right.
And Apple was like, let's be diverse. Let's give,
This gives me to the green people,
I thought
the yellow people.
I thought this was the only color.
Of thumbs up.
Yes.
That's weird that it's programmed that way.
So anyway, I was like writing someone on DM, this funny girl, talk of shame, she's hilarious. And I was like, haha, and I or whatever, I did a thumbs up and she goes, love the black thumbs up or whatever. And I go, always, meaning like there's no other choice, right?
You thought it was the only thumbs up.
Yeah. And then I was like listening to something and this girl kept saying, and I was like so triggered that every time this person wrote me, they used a black thumbs up and that is digital racism. And I'm like, holy shit. I immediately did an Instagram story to BuzzFeed.
Because you're not digital racist, you're real life racist. And you just want to make that clear that you're not. You know what though? There should be I'm not trying to be pejorative. There should be a learning curve for moms.
Yes.
When it comes to text. Like my mom sent me something the other day and it had like 10 exclamation marks. And it sent me, like all of a sudden I was like 17 and I'd overslept again and I just hear her heels clicking down the hallway like, Eliza, it's 10 o'clock. And like, she doesn't realize how aggressive like an all caps is or something because there's so much nuance, or like writing K.
Yeah.
Or like an ellipses. An ellipses means
What's an ellipses? I don't know.
3 dots.
Oh,
means
okay.
there's more info to come, like presenting ... Like hence,
Well, I
like,
think it's very scary when you see the 3 dots and you're
But
waiting
those are not
and then
the-
they go away.
those aren't the ellipses.
And then you're like, they were just about to write to something to me, and then they're like,
But those aren't the ellipses. Ellipses are like when you're like, if I was just like, hey Heather, I'm running late, and you wrote okay ... What
does that mean?
What that means is like, okay,
bitch.
That's what that means.
I would just write bitch. I'd be like, okay,
Right.
bitch. I don't
THX.
need you to. Yeah, I don't need you to. Figure
You should
it
only
out.
use the ellipses if you have like more info coming. If you use the other way, it's very passive aggressive. Okay.
I had an assistant a couple years ago that we're trying to figure something out, and I go, well, let's just call him and see what the deal is. And she's like, whoa, that's aggressive. To like actually call.
She's an idiot. No.
To call. And
That's
I'm like,
dumb.
I just feel like sometimes like the information, like the problem is solved a lot quicker if I could just get you on the phone.
Because everybody understands the nuances of text differently, and it's true. If we
Yeah.
could just speak, it takes away all the inferred anger, all the assumptions. And I say the mom text thing, and as I'm 38 now, and I find myself as I drift further and further away from youth, I find myself, I'm like, oh my, like little benchmarks of like, oh my God, I'm getting older. And can I just tell you something that happened to me?
Yeah.
This literally happened on Friday night.
Yeah.
We have some neighbors and their kids were playing outside, and the kids I got ding dong ditched, which is the quintessential, you're a homeowner and you're old now because someone is old ringing your doorbell. And the kid did it, and then I came outside and I go, hey, and he was like, I didn't do it. I'm like, really? Because you're the only one here and you just said I didn't do it. And I lied. I go, I know your mother. I don't know who the kid is, but what does he know? He did it 5 times. And
How old are we talking?
Like 8. Like
what
a
if you're
child.
like 23? Go on,
23.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I come, and the truth is my dog barks. She hears the doorbell, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to leave. And I come outside, and as an adult, as a rational human, this kid's brain isn't fully developed. He's 8. I'm trying to appeal to his intelligence, and I come out. This is the oldest lady thing I could do. And I come out holding my dog, and I go, stop it! And he runs away, and I yell after him, it scares the dog! And I was like, I'm gonna be an inside joke for this kid and his friends. The
Yes.
rest of, I remember that old lady was like, it scares my dog. Anyways, long story boring, we have a Ring camera. We have a Ring camera, and we have like a neighborhood email list, and my husband sent out a picture. He's like, hey, we don't mind, 5 times is a bit much. And the parents were like, we're so sorry. And they made him handwrite an apology. And it was the cutest thing. It just said, I was having fun, but it was not fun for you. I'm sorry. I talked to my mom about it. I talked to my mom about it. Like the end all. It was so sweet. Like it was so harmless. If the dog didn't bark, I wouldn't care.
Right.
It scares the dog. I'm like, oh my God. Put on a house coat and go inside.
House coat.
House coat.
I agree. Now, you are an old married woman now.
I'm so
you're
old.
Now, your last special that I loved so much, elder millennial.
It wasn't the last one, but I knew you were going to say that. I think nobody
What was
liked the last one.
No,
the last one was called Unveiled, and it was about getting married.
Oh, I saw that one too.
But Elder Millennial should have had the Emmy.
I think
it was the one that everybody
it was the
loved.
one I liked the outfit in, right?
Yes.
The bell bottom and the crop top.
Yes, that's all my outfit. Yes, that's my silhouette. But yes, that's we can't really do.
But it was like a sailor theme. You did it like on a fleet or something.
I did it on an aircraft carrier.
Okay,
yeah.
see, I remember a lot.
You do.
So, okay.
People listening are like, we have no idea anyway. Who is this girl? Okay.
I don't think so. Okay,
guys.
so anyway, you're an old married woman now. And, you know what I also feel like when you named your special Elder Millennial, I thought it was so clever. And did you come up with that? Because
Yes. I fully invented it, and now it's been co-opted by the world.
Yes, that's what I heard.
It took a couple years.
I heard it on the radio the other day, and I'm like, I wonder if that a little bit bugs you.
Did you forget my name just now?
No.
You're a comic. You can't bullshit a comic.
Because I was thinking about the little things that I say, and now people go, oh my, like even Juicy Scoop. Like I have like hardcore fans, and they're like, oh my God, so and so just said on Watch What Happens Live. That's some juicy scoop, or give me some juicy scoop.
It was a phrase,
and I like that because I'm like, no, I've trademarked it, and I want people to use this in their words.
Sure.
Yes,
it's
but
in the
like
ether.
yours was like a really clever
thing
that you thought of, and now I'm like, I want everyone to know that Iliza Shlesinger came up with it.
I created Elder Millennial, and the word elder to me is like a very like ancient, like you'd see like a
woman screaming at children
over a cauldron. Man, elder, like the elders of like a tribe, and so it fit into the joke. And like most things, I'm ahead of the curve, and it's true. I've been talking about cancel culture for years, and people are like, "What about it?" I'm like, I'm on to the next thing. I'm already on Mars. Elder Millennial. I coined it. It took people a couple years, and then I started seeing creep up like a Vanity Fair article, and my first thought was like, oh, they should cite me. But then again, I'm like, every time you say humble brag, you don't cite Harris Whittles. Like every time you use a phrase.
Look at you. I didn't know where that came from.
That's where it came from. So you can't always cite it because
where's Harris today? Did he die?
Yes.
Wait.
No, let's just not. He passed away.
Okay.
But
I say 818 till I die, and I do give Brody credit because he would
still
always say it.
Yes. 818 till I die.
Yeah.
The point is, you say these things.
Yeah.
And I don't have to be like, oh, like Surf's Up, a surfer in 1978. Like you don't have to. I almost said cowabunga, but no one says that. So Elder Millennial, but now it's everywhere. And we were actually on my podcast, Ask Eliza Anything. We recently had on the girl who wrote the article where she called us geriatric millennials.
Oh.
And I was just like, why did we already? She's like, I didn't come up with it. I'm like, but you used it. But Elder Millennial is mine, and you know what? It belongs to the people now.
Okay.
It belongs to the people.
That's so generous of you.
I have no control over it. I did not patent it. And what are you going to do?
There isn't a little little circle. Yeah.
Copyright?
Circle
No.
Yeah.
Nothing. They should use it.
Anyway, it's still very clever. And
Thank
now you've been married for a couple years now.
Yeah, 3 years.
Oh, and you and your husband, who is a chef.
Yeah.
You guys were doing all these cooking shows.
Yeah.
How is married life? Because I just want to know, because you told the greatest story on my podcast that was like, when you had your freak out on the honeymoon.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was so like
honest, revealing, vulnerable.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
No, I got so many people that talked about it and was like, oh my God. And just that they've been there, or sometimes with a wedding, but just sometimes just like a time in your life, and you're just,
right.
And the way that your husband handled it. So how is the married life? Still into each other?
We're separated. But no, it's great. It's great. He's,
Did COVID make you stronger? Or pull you apart?
Hopefully. The hope is, and we don't have kids, so that makes it, and I don't want to get into any of that, but we don't have kids, so that makes it.
Do you guys want to have kids?
Yeah. You thinking of having kids? I'm like I'd never even occurred to me. So it makes it easier. So, if women that have kids, I can't even comment on that. That seems like its own special hell, like just having COVID with kids. So we don't, hopefully, people are getting married out there to someone that is tolerable most of the time.
Yes.
We didn't have these fights. Like, he's super mellow. Like, we really respect each other. So it was fine. And we started doing that show, Don't Panic Pantry, in quarantine as a way to at the very beginning, like spread positive information and encourage people to stay home and cook with what they have.
Right.
And we're going on like 220 episodes. He got a cookbook deal with Knopf out of it, and they do like all the big cookbooks and Sharon Stone's recent autobiography. And so we really, and we get sponsors, and I do stuff in the food space now, which is great because I'll eat anything.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of, it's not about making you stronger, but it was a great test, and we were fine. Mm-hmm. I moved in the pandemic. We got a dog. I still have the assistant. She's just staring at me.
I know, she's the best.
She's the best.
So now, Amy Schumer, she's married to a chef too.
I think she copied me.
I think so too.
No, I'm completely.
She just used
kidding.
Elder Millennial the other. No, I don't know Amy personally. Do you know her?
Not well.
Yeah, but I just thought that was kind of cute. And then Whitney Cummings, I think, was engaged, but she's not anymore. And I want to say he was a chef too. And I'm like,
I have a couple friends who are
like, what is happening, and why can't my husband cook? No, just
that's on him. I think. I have a couple friends who are engaged to chefs, married to chefs. I think it's just a job, especially in LA, that like dudes have. And I think growing up, at least my generation, like we were still taught, like women cook. And all of a sudden, and I actually had a boyfriend who was a chef when I was in my 20s, like, or at least like loved food. Like it's this thing where usually girls have to be let into boys clubs, but it's like, a lot of men love cooking.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. Girls were like, "Oh, chef? Oh, do you just love it? Do you just eat all the sniggity snacks?" I'm like, I will eat deli turkey out of a bag over the garbage. Like, it is so wasted on me.
Yeah.
But he does provide all my meals. I'm like an ancient tortoise. Like, he has to like bring things into my cage, and I either eat it or I don't. And I don't get my own food. He's rendered me helpless. He takes such good care of me.
Really?
I'll just text him. I'll be like, and when I say it, he goes, I'll text him. I'll be like, the cupboard is bare. Like from that nursery rhyme. What is it? But when she got there, the cupboard was bare. Is it Hickory Dickory Dock or something? I'll text him, the cupboard is bare. He's like, it really breaks my heart when you say that. Like, I try really hard to always keep it stocked. He's like, and you ate a whole watermelon the other day. So, like, slow down. He's a very sweet man.
Oh my God. Okay.
He's a sweet guy.
So you have your big, so your tour was you were one of those comics like my girl Fortune that like had all these dates, all this huge thing planned. Your thing was really like cut because of the COVID.
Cut off at the knees.
Yes.
Like I was flying home. We did a date in like Indiana, like that was the last one. And then I think we were going to go to Australia. We had just come home from Australia.
You had some fun things planned.
I had that plan, and we were like on our way to Denver, which was going to be massive. And we made the call at the last minute, like, let's just not, like, this is getting weird. And I just watched like a 60 city tour dissolve right in front of me. And credit to my team, which sounds like an asshole thing, but it does take a team.
I can't imagine so much work to schedule and reschedule. And
got right on it.
Yeah.
Because people don't realize, they're like, oh, you're not coming back for a year. I'm like, it's not me. There's other acts that are scheduled. You only you have to challenge certain dates. Like, there is a whole game to it. So we got them rescheduled ASAP, still rescheduling, still pushing. So don't send me DMs. Like, yes, your tickets are still good, and if I'm not coming to you soon enough, like, that ain't on me. Blame science and blame your anti-vaxxers and anti-maskers, because that's what did it.
Yeah.
It ain't me. Have Act Will Travel. And I did. I did a drive-in tour during COVID.
How was that?
It was cool. It was hard.
I wonder.
It was cold.
I was like, so like, I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on the podcast. Like, there's been times in my life where I'd be like, oh, I would do anything for them to call and say, like, last night there was an explosion and the club is no longer, not like anyone got hurt, but the club is, just because like I haven't packed and I'm just tired.
I think that when I'm looking at people standing in line on a Sunday night, I'm like, go home. Why are you here?
And so then for it to actually happen, like the first got canceled. And of course we thought at that time, is it going to be like a month or whatever? And then, so then I'm like, I'm not going to do the Zoom shows. And then the drive-in shows started to happen. And then I think it was like Bonnie McFarlane and a couple of people like did a little documentary that came out about it or something. And I was like, did I miss out on like a little portion of history that I should have done?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't know that.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know that documentary or anything, but
like the drive-in movie thing where they'd beep for a joke.
Some places honk. I called mine a comedy tailgate tour, and so because you're seeing the rest of the country, and these people tailgate. Like, we don't do it in Los Angeles, but like in McHenry, Illinois, they sure as shit tailgate, and so, or like Butler, Pennsylvania, like these people come equipped with like trucks and folding chairs and coolers. So we made it this very like Americana thing. We did it in Colorado, so people come out. One day it was like raining on stage, and I'm up there. I'm like, I don't deserve this. It was so cold. I had 2 herniated discs. Like, it was a trek. It was a schlep. But it's one of those experiences that I wanted to have done it because I think it's good to have a career filled with like battle scars.
That's what I'm saying. So did I miss out?
No,
because
if you didn't feel the need to do it, then you didn't miss out.
Okay.
You know? And it was hard. But it was a challenge. But
like, you're going to be able to like tell the children that are ding dong ditching you 25, 30 years from now, when I was, you know, in my 30s, I had to do stand up because there was a pandemic and people could only beep for me. I'm not going to tell that.
They'll
be able
care
to tell
just as much as like 20-something female comics care now when I say how hard it was. Nobody cares about your struggle or what you did or the road you paved. It's like, get out of the way. I'm relevant now. Nobody wants to hear about that unless it's like a civil rights issue. Nobody wants to hear like, hey, when I did comedy, I used to like, people just want to, everyone just focus on themselves as they should be. Right?
Yeah.
Sort of.
I was just thinking like, it would be so great if like a female stand-up was just like, well, when I was trying, you know what I had to do? I had to blow the club owner. Oy. Then I had to fuck 2 busboys to get a glass of water. And then I still killed. And everyone's like, what? Like, just go off. Like, at the retirement hotel, like, I'm going to come up with, like, worst stories that I ever had to deal with just to, like, have people.
Let me say this. Yes. Let me say this. Because we don't really have to talk about it, but I will say this. Because there's all this stuff, you know, about, because there's so much inequality in stand-up and in show business, and there's so much stuff about women. Every woman I know in stand-up has been sexually harassed. Every single woman.
Okay.
Something that has a horrible story or something.
Yes.
Here's what I'm going to say, though. On the other side of it, these girls that are like, you know, and he said I had to blow him, or I slept with this guy for stage time. Listen to me. There is literally not one woman in the history of comedy who's successful, so one woman you've heard of, that has slept her way to the top. It literally has never happened. So I don't know where we got this idea, like, to do the acting model where it's like, ooh, casting couch. It doesn't exist in comedy, so don't buy into it.
Yeah.
Some guys like sleep with me. Now you just like fucked a dude. He can't make you, you're going to fuck your way to the middle. Like, he cannot, it doesn't work like that, so don't do it.
Right, because it isn't.
You have the power.
Like, there isn't one. This is what when people also.
I fucked the mayor of comedy.
Or like sometimes when like there were all those conspiracy theories of like, there is the Illuminati that runs Hollywood, and I'm like, I've been pitching shows for 20 years. It is not one person that decides. And it's not even a small group of people. There's a million different entities of people that say yes, no. Then that person that liked you and gives you your deal, they just got fired. So now your deal's dead. But then the person that also liked you from 5 years ago is now over here and they're calling you. Like, it's just,
which is why you should just always be nice. Never have that dream fuck you moment where you're like, screw you. Network, because those people move around.
Yeah.
But in comedy, oh, this guy won't give you stage time? Go down the street to the other bar show. These people do not have that much power.
Right.
So please don't play into it. Sexual harassment is not okay, but these girls that are like, and I thought if I slept with him, I would find another comic. It doesn't work that way. You're smarter than that. You're better than that.
Also, I always thought, like, about sex, like, I'd be like, oh, I wonder how those 2 comics got together. Like, I would just be like cracking jokes with that person. Like, I don't know.
It can't be sensual.
I never like wanted to sleep with other comics. Like, I just kind of was like, no, like, and then like, I don't want to be funny while I'm trying to get my sex on.
That's why you got to get real drunk. I'd be like, I'll sleep with you. I'd be like, okay, I'll sleep with you, but I'm giving you the light at 3 minutes. Oh, no. Gross. I don't want to be vulnerable and sexual with another comic.
And then it's like, I knew some of the female comics that were in fact doing better for me, better than I was, because not necessarily sleeping around, but they did have a boyfriend that was like the head writer on a show, and then they'd get a guest role.
Well, that's different.
And I would hope that you would. I hope if you're screwing them every night and you're a funny, qualified actress, you wouldn't be like, come on, let me be Jerry Seinfeld's girlfriend in one episode this season. Like,
it's good
why
old
can't
nepotism.
you?
If,
like,
if you're
why not?
If you're good enough, why not? Can I just switch topics? These
yes,
jean
please
shorts
do.
Don't fit. Okay, I'm just gonna say this. This is a little graphic. Have you ever had shorts that like go, like the seam go into your vagina? I have to like dress to the left, so the seam isn't just like.
You're like a dude that puts the dick off to the side.
Oh my God, why? I bought a size up.
I know. That's why I told you. I've gained a few pounds, and there's nothing more uncomfortable. And then I had to tell myself during this time, because I was not that person that the first week of COVID, right? I was like, I'm getting organized. I went to Costco and I bought some drawer organizers, not as intense as that cute Asian girl that, you're supposed to take everything and be like,
Marie Kondo.
You brought me joy. You didn't. Okay. I've always been envious of the people that are super organized, love to do their closets on a Friday night, because I've never wanted to. I organized one bra drawer. That was it.
How long did that last?
That was the only thing I organized. I'm saying throughout the entire COVID. Oh no, it looks like shit now.
Yeah.
But but I've been trying to tell myself, Heather, these shorts
you address
are
yourself
fucking up
like
your
you
vagina.
say the name as if you're talking to another
in my
you.
head. In my head.
That's even worse. Who else would you be talking to?
I'm like, girl,
Heather,
you're never gonna choose these shorts again. You're never gonna
spark of joy.
Yes, you never. It's up your vagina. It's so uncomfortable. Or
you keep them for the hope. The hope, okay, I'll fit back in. These are
I
brand
remember
new.
the times we had such a good time together.
In the shorts.
In those particular shorts.
But you only wear shorts.
No, I don't.
I was telling you before the podcast, I think of you as a shorts. When I think of you in shorts. Formal shorts. Like a print, like a silk short. That's what I think of you
Well,
in.
you know what it is for a long time, I always liked wearing short dresses and cowboy boots, which by the way are coming back.
No,
and
they're not. You just
yes,
want that
they
so
are.
you already have some, that's why.
No, I don't, because it's hard for me to wear cowboy boots because my calves are so thin that there's too much room. There's too much room around.
I feel that way about my waist. It's so thin. I'm like, oh no, I'm lost in my dress. What's happening? I'm tilting over. My boobs are so big, but my waist is so thin. I'm falling over.
That's what your body is like.
It actually is. I shouldn't even joke.
Anyway, it doesn't look good when there's too thin of legs. It's like two sticks in a bowl. So you got to have. So I like boots over the knee, because then they hug my legs,
and you have long legs, so you can do a lot with that.
Yeah, and also I just feel like I came to a kind of place where I'm like, all of a sudden these chicken legs finally I caught up with myself, and people thought, oh my God, Heather has good legs. So then I'm just not everyone has good legs. I do. I also don't. I don't have a great waist like you do. That's so tiny that we don't know. How does she breathe? Is she wearing a corset? I don't have
small
that.
sips.
I don't have that. So I bet I might as well have fun and show off what I have until the day comes where I can't wear it anymore.
I hear you on
that. But I don't
and
wear shorts on stage, by the way.
No, that would be insane. That's only crazy people do that.
Yeah.
It's great that you're realizing that, because I think a lot of people go through life and then you look back at a picture of yourself
why didn't
from 5 years ago. I look back and I thought, I always have a good self-esteem, but you look back I can't wear that. Then you look back, you're like, what was I look fine.
Yes.
So it's great to live in that now.
Yes.
Also, you go and you get dressed and you beat yourself up over it, and then you go outside and you see a fucking armadillo in a shift dress, and you're like, she wore that, and I'm killing myself over this color combination.
Yes.
Nobody cares. I was like, gray's so ugly, and then I was like, no, but nobody's watching Juicy Scoop ooh, what's that fashionista Eliza gonna wear? My job is not to be a fashion icon, and I have not even made peace with that. It's not even something I think about. My hair is fine. I washed it. What else do you want from me? It's not my thing in life, so I don't think about it as much.
But you are an attractive girl
for sure,
with a really good body. You have pretty blue eyes.
Thank you.
You obviously had the easiest life of any comic on earth.
Yeah.
Being that you're white and pretty, and you
I just
probably
woke
look
up and I
back
was
and
like,
go,
I'm gonna do
why
this.
didn't I sleep with more comics on the road? I'm sure you think that.
No, I definitely look back and I'm like, good for you. Keep your nose clean. Also, I'm a headliner. I'm not going to sleep with my opener. That's a weird power dynamic.
Or in the audience. Like guys will always sleep with the waitresses and stuff.
I'm going to break something to you that I don't think, it's going to be a shocker to you.
Please.
Women find funny men attractive. It doesn't always go the other way.
Exactly.
That hot Marine in the front row, is a little intimidated by by funny. Look, in your 20s, you
so
joke.
Wait, you've never taken a hot Marine from the front row home?
He wasn't in the front row. No, I've never really done that. I think people look at the way a lot of comics are, it's drugs and partying, whatever. My priority was always being safe. So
Yeah.
I was never out alone. I was never, and then when I started touring with someone, then your priority is like, I'd like to use the hotel bath. I'd like to take a nice bath. I'd like to find a nice dinner.
Yes.
You know what? And sometimes you go out, whatever, but safety really is something that nobody accounted for the majority of the time women have been doing stand-up. And now I'm married and tired, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I did enough going out with friends that I never had that. Here's the thing. Sex is so complicated.
Yeah.
And a woman getting off is already like such an issue. I'm like, why am I going to like do that with a stranger? I'm like, so what, you're guaranteed to get off and I'm just sitting there like a little uncomfortable the whole time? Not going to do it.
I just remember one time I like came home and Peter's like, how was the weekend or whatever? And I go, oh, I don't know. Like this guy from the club, I thought he worked for the club. Turns out he was just like an aspiring comedian. Anyway, he picked me up in a different car every night. And what if
is this the valet?
I'm like, what if it like didn't have like a floor or something? Like I was just like, what? I'm like, I think it's time I like maybe speak up a little bit. Like I was just like, I don't want to be like a diva, but like, can I? And then Peter's like, wait a minute, like what is the club? He's like the businessman, so he's like,
what's the club?
This is
the club.
like,
was it Sanford and Son in Kansas City? What's the club?
It was a club that has since been bought by
the Improv.
Yes, and
what
now
hasn't?
I know, but at least it was. I get a driver now. But anyway, he was like, "What club just like allows someone that's not an employee to drive them without proper insurance? Like, what if you got hit by a car?
Booking a woman." I had to walk across a field alone to get home from the club in Kansas. I had to walk back to like Country Inn and Suites by myself from a club where they still smoke cigarettes indoors. Nobody cares if you die. No security. And it took like a weird threat for me to be like, okay, we need security. Now there's so much and it's whatever.
Now they take care of it. But I remember it was just like,
just put a fat guy out front in a club shirt so men are deterred from coming into your green room. Girls, just make sure you ask for it. You don't have to. And I was talking to a comic about this. I was like, it actually comes down to like, are you filling that club? And that's when they like think about your safety. Like, are you selling out? Okay, we'll get your security.
Yes, totally.
If not, we don't care if you die.
Yes, because I just remember one time I was like, okay, yeah. So, and they're like, all right, so tomorrow the show's at 7:30, and I go, okay. So it is like, how do I get back to the hotel? They're like, you can just, there's cabs.
They're going to hook it home.
I'm like, so I'm going to walk out where everyone just saw me perform.
Pretty much. And you're going to get in a crusty cab.
Yes.
What if this was all gin? I'm just like having a really bad day. This is so gnarly. I like to finish the coffee and then I put water in.
Me too.
Oh, really? Okay,
and
good.
like milk. I also do that with
milky
alcoholic
coffee
drinks.
water.
Like I also do it like if I have like a spicy margarita and I finish that, I'll take my water glass and fill it and to have just like a
little
like
blaster.
a margarita infused water.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what we'll call it. Not a problem. It's margarita infused water. Will you put that? Help me. I don't want to throw it. It's so heavy. It's like a missile. I have this like Yeti for like trekking across the Andes. I don't know why it's so heavy.
Across the field after you do a set.
Across the field. Oh my God. I'm sure I could come up with other ones where it was just like, good luck. Goodbye. Get out of here.
Yeah, they're just like, and then sometimes I was like, I always think just like in raising my kids or whatever, when people sometimes go, I mean, my daughter didn't even know how to do laundry. I'm like, because you didn't teach her. Like, we have to teach them. So I'm like, some of these clubs nobody made them aware that this weekend is a woman. Therefore, everything that worked for the last 40 weeks before with men is not going to work for this woman. And so like sometimes it was just, they were just clueless. And once you made them aware, they were like gentlemen about it and was like, oh my God, we're sorry. But nobody
it's never deliberate. It's
nobody taught them and they weren't aware to think about it. And once you, like even during this whole thing, even with Peter, like a couple years ago with the whole Bill Cosby stuff, he would just be like, just dumbfounded watching like a 2020 on this. He's like, I mean, I would have gone straight to the LAPD and
no one would have listened.
And
That's
I'm like,
the thing. Nobody listens.
I go, Peter, but when was the last time you were afraid? And
I say this all the time.
He's like, never. And I'm like, exactly. At 13, you were 6 feet tall and you were white and you were athletic. Like,
and he's still white today?
He's still white.
That's unfortunate. I'm so sorry.
It is. But I'm like,
people don't think about it.
Yeah, because it wasn't your experience. Just like my experience, I'm not, a little person that couldn't grab something at a store. So like, I don't know what they are. So I'm like, with some of these guys that once they were educated like that, then they were like, a lot of them kind of then started to realize, oh, okay, yeah.
I think need to allow for more room in our society for that. If there's no malintent and someone just, you're living your life, and it's, it's such a privilege to get to be educated on somebody else's issues or struggles or something that isn't in your purview. If you don't grow up around people, or if you're a guy and you don't think about that because the world is very much tailored to you. And so I leave a certain amount of grace for a guy to be like, oh my God, I didn't think of that. Thank you for that.
Right.
And I never come in hot about it. Like, someone's got to walk me. It is in the writer now, but someplace, it's funny. I travel a lot, and sometimes, because, I have like a stalker, and I've had stalkers, and it's like, it says in the writer, like, has to have security. Some places get super horny for that security. They're like, we called in the local PD, we got sheriffs, they're all there with guns. I'm like, one guy. No, it's these very white cities that are like, oh, we brought out the cavalry. You're like, unnecessary.
Oh my God, when
like, we can't wait.
When I went to Chicago City Winery a couple years ago, and they had the Chicago off-duty police officers there for me, I was like, what? Like, I got hot for it. I got wet for it. I was like, I fucking love it. I feel always badass.
Like, I'm not Beyonce. Like, we don't need this. That being said, I had my stalker. I was performing. He came up to the stage, and I said, "What?" Like, I didn't know who it was at the time. I didn't know it was my stalker. I remember this. And I stopped the show. I don't let anything stop my show. I take it very seriously that people spent money on this.
Yeah.
And I was just like, get the fuck out of here. Like, security's always like, what's your code word? I'm like, the code word is get this fucking guy out of here. There's no like, oh, Pepsi. And he walks up the stage. Security wasn't paying attention. They finally come up. I go, get this guy out of here. And they walk him back to his seat. I lost. I was like, not back to his seat, out of the auditorium, out of the theater, wherever we were. And this man has stalked me for the last several years. And it's gotten worse and worse. And our legal system's like, well, let's just relocate him here to Los Angeles so he can put in roots. And you're just like, okay, when I'm dead, I'll lodge a complaint.
That is so scary. How did
Most
you
people
like?
have stalkers.
Were you like shaking? How did you continue the show after?
I didn't know at the time. I just thought it was a drunk guy.
Oh,
and I just remember being like, "Please get him out of here." And they brought him back to his seat, and I was like, "I don't need that. I need him not. I need the threat of him not coming back up." And then it turned out to be a very real life threat. But what do I know? I'm just a hysterical woman. So just a hysterical woman who just wants attention, whatever. So it's a tough thing, and most women have stories like that, or stalkers. You don't have to be famous. Like, my friend was like, oh yeah, when I went to USC, we had a guy that would just walk through our apartment every week, and the cops did nothing. Because, like, basically until somebody murders you, you have no case.
Yeah.
So you have to be proactive. Mm-hmm. That being said, one time I bought a BB gun. It was really hard to reload. I feel like you would know this. It takes like 12 pounds of pressure, and I returned it immediately. I was like, I'm not this person. I am not that accurate, and I'm not that tough. But I do have bear spray. So.
Yeah. So you breathe the bear spray on the road.
No, you can't get through TSA with that, but it is by my bed with a knife, which I don't plan on having like close hand-to-hand combat with anyone, but it's there.
Wow.
It's all I can do.
Wait, I want to get to the movie that is coming out on the 23rd.
Okay.
But I saw you in another movie. I don't know if I wrote to you about it. It was the other Netflix movie where you played the sister. Yes. How was that? That was cool.
Yeah, it's a super intense,
yeah,
artistic movie. We shot it in Montreal in January, so that was its own beast. But yeah, it was an invitation to come sit on set and be around better actors and just sort of watch and sort of just sit at their feet and watch that process. So it was, I literally left. So we made this movie, Good on Paper. We wrapped at midnight. Mm-hmm. And I literally was on the plane at 6 a.m. the next day to go to Montreal to shoot Pieces of a Woman. So it's two very different experiences.
Oh, okay.
One was totally my movie, and one I was just like, I'm just here. I'm just here.
I wanted watching that movie. I thought, I wonder if like you were supposed to have a bigger part and then they like changed it.
Yes.
Because you looked so much like her. Like, you looked like you could be real sisters.
Yeah.
And so I thought there was a very specific choice that I think choosing you. And I'm like, and I don't understand why you're not featured that much. But I'll be honest, that storyline, I had a lot of issues with the storyline. As the time went on, I was like, it started out, I was on a plane, I was like, oh my God, Eliza's in this so good, this is so juicy, this is so good.
So juicy.
And then I was kind of like,
it's an intense movie.
And then I had a lot of issues with it.
I mean, and that's totally okay. You know, the part was offered, which is so cool because you have to fight for everything. And then and I was like, oh, I didn't know him. And I was just like, I know Ellen Burstyn. And I didn't know Vanessa at the time. And of course, everyone knows who Shia LaBeouf is. And then Sarah Snook, who's also in Succession. So, and like, they were like, Benny Safdie's going to be in it. And I was like, are you sure you have the right number? It was a little different when I read the script and what we rehearsed. And I actually shot a lot of... we got there and a lot of scenes had been X'd out like that day, having nothing to do with me.
Right.
And then I actually shot more scenes and they were, they didn't make it. I think they just decided to go with a very specific narrative that really focused on Vanessa's character and that story, which is, you know, I still get the paycheck. No, I still get the lessons from it and the experience.
Right.
But yes, you are correct. There was definitely, it was different when we signed up.
Yeah.
But it's whatever.
Okay, so let's talk about this one. It's good on paper. Netflix on June 23rd. A true story from the comedy mind of Iliza Shlesinger. So did you write this?
I wrote this.
Okay, so tell me the whole, like, how you came up with it, everything about it.
It says a mostly true story. And we call it a mostly true story based on a lie because this is actually something that happened to me. What I will tell you, when you watch, these things happen to me.
Okay.
I was coming home from the East Coast and I got on the plane and I sat next to a guy and he was around my age and we started talking and he told me he went to Yale and I was like, oh, that's cool. My cousin went to Yale, like whatever. Like it's not, I come from a world where it's like, it's not like he's an astronaut that went to Mars.
Right.
So we're talking and we get to know each other and I was like, this guy's cool. And I think my boyfriend was picking me up from the airport. But he was very smart and he was charming and he was very like very preppy. Like you don't see guys like that in LA. I did not find him attractive. I cannot stress that enough. But I was like, but this guy's cool. I have a lot of male friends, whatever. And he had a girlfriend, and so I think we like followed each other on Twitter, which is like so harmless. And I remember his Twitter handle had like a Yale reference in it, and I remember thinking like, okay, this guy loves being a Yale alumni. And I invite everyone to shows. Like, you clean my teeth, I'm like, let me know if you want tickets to a comedy show.
Yeah.
And we became friends.
Socially friends?
I don't know if he came to a show. I don't know, like maybe you like tweet back and forth or whatever, and we just became socially friends, and we both... He was always able to fit into my schedule. My schedule is so erratic, and it's actually the reason my husband and I clicked at first. Yeah. He's a chef. Like, I keep odd hours. Yeah. I need to go eat dinner at 11 o'clock sometimes. And I met this guy, Dennis, in the movie Dennis, and he was available. And I was like, this is cool.
But is he romantically involved with you in real life? Okay.
So we're friends in real life and in the movie, and so we're friends, and we're friends for a year. Okay. He comes out with my friends all the time. He travels too for business, and sometimes he would like be on the road in the same city as me. Like, it was cool. It was just really easy, and he had money, so it was easy to be like, yeah, I'll just meet you out, or and it wasn't about money on me. It was just life was easier. This was like somebody who was educated and wealthy, and I was like, great. Drank with my friends. We partied all the time. We had a great time. And I was very honest. You know, he would made it very clear. He's like, I like you. And I was like, I don't feel the same way. If you don't, and I've said this to guys, like, if you don't want to keep hanging out with me, I understand that. I'm just going to be honest about what I'm doing. Like, I go on dates, and if this is painful for you, we don't have to do this. I always think it's okay if you're being honest. Like, give the person the choice.
Yes.
You're not leading them on if you're like, here's me being honest. Anyway, friends for a year, and then one day, and this is the scene with Tyler Cameron, I was on a date with the opposite of Dennis Kelly, like a very like hunky, like all-American, like military guy. And I posted a picture of him on Instagram. And about 10 minutes later, I got a phone call from Dennis saying, I don't want to bother you, but I just found out my mom has cancer. So that like, as a friend, as someone who you've like spent a year with this person, you're very close, your parents have met this person, your heart breaks for them. He cried about it, all this stuff, and we dated for about 3 months. And in that,
so then you started to date him.
Start dating, and I went to like a wedding. I came home, and I was like something clicked. And it's this thing that women can do that men can't. Like, if you see a guy, if a guy sees you and he's like, I think she's ugly, he's not going to come around. He's not going to be like, I thought you were ugly, but I guess you're super hot. But women, because you're funny, women can become attracted to a personality.
A soul, a heart. Yeah, totally.
And in that time, things started to sort of unravel. And Margaret Cho plays this sort of amalgamation of 3 women in my life, my mom, my best friend, and then just another girlfriend. And my mom started asking questions, and then I started asking, like, some things just started not sort of adding up. And in the end, we found out this person had lied about every single thing. including where he went to school, what he did, everything. And the rest of the movie, I wrote this as a rom-com, but Netflix is calling it a rom-con, which I love.
Love.
And the last third, think of it as like a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sort of twist of the past wish fulfillment. Like, what if I had done this? So
I love it.
The end part is the
well. I've been
part.
upset. Like one of the ongoing theme of like my shows of Juicy Scoop is that I have interviewed a lot of regular women.
Yes.
That have had a Dirty John experience.
And this happened to me before Dirty John, Dr. Death. Like those things came into popularity. But this happened to me in like 2015, and I was quietly writing the script the whole time. And what I found in sharing the story, and I'm fine now, it's not like I'm recovering from it. A lot of people, men and women, have encountered this. Someone who lies about cancer, someone who lies about where they're from. Like this is a type of sociopath.
I've had people write me about female, like just a platonic girlfriend, like a roommate, that they took them to fake cancer treatments for like a year.
Yes.
That it's just insane how
people just make stuff up.
How people lie.
The cancer's a big thing too.
Yes.
And I felt he had lied about everything, but I felt like he wasn't getting what he wanted from me emotionally, so he did that. And as a human with a heart, I was like, oh my God. So I found out in bits and pieces what was true, what wasn't. It all came crumbling down, so it's just...
So is this the first movie that you've written that's gotten made?
Yes. I've written TV and web things that have gotten made, but this is my first movie. And this, to anybody out there who is writing a movie or thinking about it, this was a painful thing that I went through, and it was very cathartic to write it. So I just wrote it because it poured out of me. And it was very comforting to know, I wrote this movie at late night on Saturday nights, on the road, in airports. I'd come home from an audition that I, of course, didn't get because I've only booked like 3 things ever. And I'd write this as a way to feel like, okay, well, I'm working on something. And not like in a demonstrative way, like no one knew I was doing this,
right.
And so it was nice to know that I had this. And I just chipped away at it by myself. And I showed it to my manager, and she set me up with a producer. You take a lot of producer meetings. And it happened to be, I was playing Boston. So this was around 2017. And I met with the guy. I looked him up. His name's Paul Vernon. He actually dates Bethany Frankel, the Real Housewives. And
wait,
but that's only recently. But yes.
Wait, Bethany Frankel's current boyfriend, who I think she's engaged to, is the producer of this movie.
Correct, Paul Vernon.
Wow, the worlds have collided. Continue.
He's great.
That's great.
And this is before they had met, and not that means anything, but I remember my manager was like, his name's Paul Burton. I Googled him, and I was like, ooh, he's cute. And I think, engaged at the time, but I was like, I'm still going to put in my fake hair for this meeting. So I went downstairs with my fake hair. He doesn't know it's fake. But we really got along. We just really bonded as people, just talking, like just getting to know someone.
Yes.
And he was like, I like your movie. I like this idea. So he's like, let's do it. And and that set into motion a year of going back and forth with one of the other producers, just nailing down the story. I didn't like any of that work. We found the director. She and I went back and forth and got it exactly where I wanted it. And then we offered the roles. But this is, we shot this 2 years ago now. It was right. Recently? No, I shot this whenever we shot Pieces of a Woman. So this was the Thanksgiving before the pandemic hit.
So Thanksgiving 2019.
Yeah, I have trouble with that math.
I know. Everything blurs. I'm like, when was summer? Like, I'm so confused.
Is summer?
Yeah.
It's this now. It's very hot. It's shorts weather. And so that was the story of it. But it was, and I remember I was shooting Unveiled, which is my most recent Netflix special, and I'll never forget this. I was in the hotel in Nashville, and the office called, and they were like, you lost funding for your movie. And I was like, you couldn't have told me this after I shoot a Netflix special, like in 4 hours.
Wait, you're just about to shoot the special?
Yeah, I'm like 3 hours out from hair and makeup.
Why wouldn't they?
Nobody cares about your feelings. That's
Nobody
why.
has bedside manner in Hollywood.
No one. And no one cares about talent's feelings. Like the things that they say.
What I think I would...
Talent.
Oh, wait. I did a weekend with you a million years ago, and I had a great time. And then I went back and did that lipstick thing again, and it was with... Jessie Mae Peluso, who I didn't know. And right before I went on stage, now this isn't nearly as big of your issue, but it was like we pitched a show and we were waiting to hear who wants it.
Yeah.
And they calling me and they're like, nobody wants
it. Kill yourself.
Nobody wants it. And I have all these girlfriends, like we made a birthday weekend out of it for my one friend.
Right.
And I was like, can you guys just like go downstairs and get a
Yeah.
drink? Like I need to be alone. And then I need to get funny, lady.
Yes.
Like, and it was just like, oh my God.
Nobody cares. Nobody's
But
thinking
before
about your other
special,
projects.
so then what did you do?
I called the producers. I was like, we got to find. It wasn't that much money. I'm like, we got to find this from somewhere else, and we did.
Yeah.
But it was just that thing. I'm like, you guys, like, I'm about to film something that's gonna live forever.
Yeah.
And so it's a real exercise in just compartmentalizing.
Which is something, so when people say, what is something surprising about, people say like, what is something surprising about you? But I think this is the thing that most comedians, certainly probably all performers, singers too, is that you could be in a fight with your husband or your wife or get bad news.
Yeah.
And you have sometimes minutes to just be like, in my case, like say a little prayer, like, and just go, all right, and even sometimes now, like with my family and my kids, if I'm starting to like get riled up at my house before I leave to go to a podcast or a show, I will say, I have to be funny, leave me alone. And then they do leave me alone because
also,
I'm like, I can't be in a bad mood.
It sort of dissipates within the first couple moments on stage. And I also hold it sacred that it's never lost on me, no matter how famous or big I get, it's never lost on me that these are regular people who are spending in many times their only disposable income or, and, they could have $1 billion, but they're choosing to spend their time with me and their money. So you don't show up drunk. You don't not do your full time.
Agree.
You always give them a show. It's show business. And by the grace of God, I have this career. Like everybody wants this job, so don't piss it away just because like you're having a bad. Like you have to check it, and then you can crumble when you get off stage.
I'm very similar to that too, and like every time I go to a place, I'm like, let me get a picture of the marquee because this may be the last time this place ever asked me to come here. Like
every time.
Pretty much every time.
What do you do?
I just go, let me just
be
get
that
it.
way.
I'm like, let me just get it, just because I want to always stay in that grateful place, and I want to like live and be grateful for the moment and not think like these things are going to keep coming at me forever. They may not, or it might change. So like enjoy these moments when they're around.
You know what always bothers me?
What?
When people say like, are you taking a minute to like really enjoy it? I'm like, what's it to you? Why are you asking me that? Like, are you taking a minute? Like, I'm fine. Like whether it's always this thing with women, like, are we being demonstrative enough about how much we're really grateful and absorbing it? Like, I do things on my own time private. Like, I don't need to.
Yeah.
Are you taking a minute to really reflect? I'm like, reflect on what? The fact that no one wanted my show yesterday and I'm missing 50% of my ticket. Like, it's not. It doesn't need to be public that people are seeing that you're taking that moment because it'll never be enough for some people. So rest assured, I enjoy my victories, but it's not something that I need to make clear to everyone that I'm really reveling in that light. Like,
no, but I will say in what you just said, like always having great respect for the audience, knowing that like, my whole thing is like someone got a sitter for this. Yeah. Someone had to pump before they came, so their milk wasn't coming down their tops. Like this might be the first time they've been out in 3 years
100%.
because they had like 3 back-to-back babies. Like, and so even if they get too drunk and are like a little annoying, I'm like, oh girl, it's okay. Like I love you, whatever.
Oh, not me, because I'm like, you're ruining this for everyone else.
If they I don't.
But they can be annoying to me.
If they ruin the show, then they have to leave. But I'm saying afterwards, we do a meet and group, and they're like a little, and then they write me later like, oh my God, I was so drunk and you were so nice. And then my friends gave me shit all this morning that I was so annoying at the meet and greet. I'm like, it's fine.
It doesn't even register.
That part is fine with me.
You know
I don't
what girls
care.
always say? They're always like, I know, I love you so much, I'm being creepy. Girls of the world, you have no idea how creepy you'd have to be for me to think another woman is creepy.
Yes.
Like, it's not creepy that you're like a cute girl that's like, I'm just a huge fan. Like,
I know.
Give yourself a break.
I know, especially when you actually have a real stalker. So many girls go, I swear I'm not a stalker. You're like, I know, because I might.
I had a guy lick my face one time, okay? So you're fine. Don't do it. I will retaliate physically.
Okay, so I'm super excited to see this. And like, that's why I reached out to you when I saw the trailer and that you did this, and I was pretty sure because I saw the true story, so I was like, wait a minute, I think she wrote this.
I did write
this,
and
I am like super impressed. Like, I'm so happy for you. This is one of those things that I I kind of thought I would do at one point in my career. I've worked on movies, you know, but I've never written like my own movie. And at this point, I can honestly say, I don't know if I have it in me. I think if I had a bunch of people with computers that knew how to do the final draft and stuff, maybe I could like walk around and tell the story and work. But I would not do it alone like you.
So you're doing stand-up.
Yeah, I would not do it like you. Like I don't at this point in my life, I've written 2 books, so I did have the discipline to write the books. But like, because the, you know, entrance and sunlight and like, you know, exit, like that, I don't have that training, and it's been so long since I've worked in that format.
It's a skill, and it's
so that is something that I like at this point I wouldn't want, but I'm so happy that you're doing it.
Thank you.
I think that it's just gonna be great. And so now tell me about the tour, because I had some questions for you. Now, does the husband come along? Because I've never done I've always come home in between the weekends. I've never done these crazy tours that you and some of my friends do, where you're literally gone for like 8 weeks straight in a different city.
No, I don't get like a bus. I'm home on like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Or if it's like on the East Coast, maybe I'll stay somewhere or whatever, but it's not like that. You can always come home. Sometimes he'll come if it's a really cool city.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been to it or something, you know, or like a New York trip, he'll come for that. I'm doing Europe. And I was actually just looking at it yesterday, and I called my agent. I'm like, we got to pull some of these dates. This is, it's a full month, and it's like a show every single night.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you do that?
I'm just going to, but he's going to come for that. And, you know, you get a 1 or 2 days off, and then you do 5. But you're on adrenaline. My thing is, I was saying to him, you know, it's important to maybe pull 1 or 2 of these sort of tertiary cities, because one of the biggest wastes is when you're too tired to see a brand new city. Like, you just sleep the day away in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
You're like, I guess I'll see you next time. Singapore. I did that last time we were in Singapore. I was so tired. I ate, and then I just slept until the show, because you only have so much energy.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
it's I love doing it, and we have hours that we operate. Like, my opener, his name's Hunter. We always joke, like, when we're ready to have lunch, like, things are closed. Like, when we're finally off that plane and ready, it's like 3:00. So it's like no man's land.
Yeah, yeah.
So we really exist at night. Like, when everyone's going on their date and getting ready, like, that's when we're like having our coffee, getting ready to do the show.
Yes.
And we're having dinner at like 1:00 in the morning. And so it's just the way that I've been existing for so long.
yeah.
So it's just it's especially like in another country, like if you're by yourself, like you do go to museums, and I walk around, like I'm very active.
So you don't go with even on a big tour like this, you don't go with like your assistant or like a tour manager or something?
I couldn't pry her out of her apartment. She wouldn't go. She's like a house cat. She would not come. On a foreign tour, you have like a tour manager who comes with you just to make sure you don't like fuck up the train schedule. And then when I travel, you know, Canada and the US, I bring my opener and my tour and a different tour manager.
Yeah.
It doesn't require that much. Like, stand up, you don't even need a microphone. Like, you just need you.
No, so that's what I love. Like, it's just, I do that. And sometimes people are surprised. I'm like, yeah. But I just didn't know if yes, I would not be able to go to Europe and figure out something like without my husband or someone else. There's no way I could do that. That would terrify.
I did it for so long. But he's coming because it's like we want to see Europe. Like, we've been at home forever, and I love traveling.
That's so great.
We were actually last night like Googling, like, you know, where do you want to stay, and what are the other things? We're very big on like finding the thing. Like, you can only see so many churches. I know you love being Christian. I can only see so many churches.
I don't want to. Do you know? Like, I don't even think I've never done the European thing, and now we're going to plan a big trip this summer because the kids are finally old enough. Like, I didn't do it when I was young and single, and then when I could a little bit afford it, I had little kids or a job or whatever. And so now I'm like, okay, like next summer, like we could do it. But I don't even want to like see anything educational. I'm like, I just want to like I want to be like Amalfi Coast, south of France, on a yacht, Greece. I just want to see like beautiful, beautiful stuff, eat and drink, stay at the nicest places.
Just stay in Southern California. You could just go like Pelican Bay.
That's my favorite hotel.
Of course it is.
Because it looks like that.
So you're so Orange County. You love it. I stayed there. My husband, it was so beautiful. My husband's like, what do we do here? I'm like, we go to the pool. We order a $15 iced tea. I don't know. No, it was great. They were very nice. I I always want to be the person that retains all the info. And I remember when I played Europe by myself last time, I was just like, I went to like, first of all museums, if they go far enough back, it's the same. Like everyone's a bog person, everyone's a caveman, everyone was a warring clan. And then you get into like, what's crazy, I went to this museum in Sweden and it was like their royal museum.
Yeah.
I had like 5 hours. I'm like, okay, I'll do this. They have jewels. They have like, this was Prince, like Frederick or whatever's like crown and encrusted jewel scepter from like the 1300s. Like our history goes back to about like 1600s and then it gets real in like the 1700s. We don't have stuff like that here.
Yeah.
And it is right out of a fairy tale. And it's just crazy that like, I'm looking at a ruby scepter. Like what RuPaul's Drag Race fantasy is that? They just everything's so old and we just don't have a context for that. So I enjoy that. I try to speak the language a little. It's fun. Throw yourself into it. Go to a museum.
Okay,
You're not
good
going to go
for
to a
you.
museum.
I might. I don't know. We have to work it out. I'm like I said, maybe I'll become.
You want an English-speaking waiter, and
maybe
you
I'll
want to
be
just
big
order
enough,
a drink.
I don't know because I've never really done it. Like, so I think I will really like it. I mean, we just really have to plan for it.
Let me just say this. If you're going to south of France, it's just a coastal town. If you don't have a yacht, which I don't, and I didn't when I went, you're just looking at other people's yachts and you're just eating like a $30 pizza.
I'll find a juicy scooper that has a yacht that wants to spend
there you go.
to have me on the.
Hopefully it's there
day.
when you get there. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just a beach town.
Oh yeah, I'm not going
like
to
a Longchamp store. That's what Anyway,
Eliza. Fun, delightful. Glad you made it through on this historical day of June 15th. We are recording this a little early. But the movie comes out June 23rd. So make sure you guys see it's on your Netflix. Good on paper. I'm so excited to see it.
Thank you.
And then, of course, follow Eliza, listen to her podcast, Ask Eliza, and also see when she comes to your city because she's hilarious.
Come on out. We got enough tour dates for everyone. Come on out. I feel like I was just like lecturing you on Europe and now it's over. Like, go to a museum. You're like, cool.
Like, it seems hot.
It is hot.
I heard there's no air at those places.
It's not a big thing. Much like most apartments here in Southern California, it's not a big thing. So, it's not supposed to be this hot on the planet. Anyway.
Oh my gosh, so funny.
Thank you for that.
So, guys, I know you love all the juicy scoop. For the juiciest scoop and the most exclusive content, you got to hop over to Patreon. You go to heathermcdonald.net, join Patreon. I've got a real juicy one on Friday. I've got Juicy Crimes out. Check it all out. Check all the tiers out. And thank you for supporting the show on Patreon.